First thing on the agenda for tonight is approval for the meeting minutes from February 16th. Has everyone had a chance to look at those? Any questions, updates, comments? Mike, you good? Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as is for February 16th.
Second.
Awesome. Ruth, can we get a roll call, please?
Andy Hitchcock,
Yes.
Mike Malloy,
Yes.
John Buda,
Yes.
Martin Mitchell.
Yes.
Wonderful. With that out of the way, we've got one thing on the agenda for today, and that is BZA case number 22-03. That is for two variances to 1580 Bell Road for a new garage for both the setback as well as for the heights structure. Tonight, on behalf of the homeowners, we have Mr. Cash Scott. Anyone else who will be giving testimony, we do need to swear you in, so Bridie, if you could please do that.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth and the whole truth? Okay.
And one other thing, we have 4 people on the board. We do need 3 votes in the affirmative to pass anything tonight. You are welcome to come back at a future date when we have 5 people on the board. I just want to be clear with that. It's certainly your choice, but you will need 3 votes tonight.
Okay.
So, Mr. Scott, the floor is yours. If you would like to grab the microphone, just kind of tell us what the homeowners are trying to accomplish and really help us understand what the goal is here and go from there.
It's already on?
Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, that's just for YouTube, so don't worry about that getting on the speaker here.
Okay, so long story short, I'm here on behalf of Nick and Melissa Mikulak at 1580 Bell Street. And we are here, as you stated, for 2 different variances. One is for an area variance and one is for height. So the area variance is for 16 feet. If you look at where we proposed the garage, the existing gravel driveway is obviously existent. He is proposing, he would like to put in the garage for 2 different reasons. One, he has a lot of accessory equipment that he's going to be putting in the garage for his landscaping. And then the second reason is storage on the second story of the garage. Based upon, we've looked at it a few different ways, but based upon where the existing driveway is and keeping it off of the side of the house, we see this is the best location to put the garage. And that's basically it.
So a couple questions just to get us going. So you mentioned you looked at a variety of other locations.
Yes.
Can you help explain why there as opposed to maybe back further and behind the house, which would then obviously give you the opportunity to be 20 feet from the lot line?
So the further back you go, the grade increases significantly. That's one reason. We don't want to alter the grade too much from its natural flow as it is now. The second reason is based upon the amount of trees that we have cleared, depending on how much further back we go and how much further behind the house we would go, we might have to possibly clear more trees, which he does not want to clear any more trees.
Okay.
The other thing is, if we move it 16 feet, I guess we'd have to look at it, but based on the driveway, so on that right side of the house, he's got a lot of equipment there. As far as an air conditioner, 2 condensing units, we don't want to propose on those as much either. But the biggest thing is the grade. We don't want to alter the grade. The natural flow of the grade as it is. We don't want to necessarily create more swales to bring more water towards the house.
The second question I have for you right now, the way that garage is oriented on the blueprint,
Yes.
is that how it's going to be? The picture that we have in front of us shows a different orientation. Just a night, I don't know if that rendering is, if you intend to have the driveway leading into the broad side of the barn, if you will.
We do. So we intend to have the driveway come into the short side, so the gable side.
Okay, so the picture that we're seeing is incorrect.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. And by correct, just to be clear, the statement I made is correct, not that you are going to be driving into the broad side of it.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to get some clarity there. All right. Okay. I'm sure I'll have other questions. John, Marty, Mike, you have questions? Mike, hang on for a second. I'll get the guys in the room first.
I'm gonna put last. That this helps a ton, I must say, this is a check-in. I was struggling with the schematic, and I went out and I drove it yesterday. I got out of the driveway without throwing myself, which is nice, backed up the whole way down. But in any event, it was, yeah, so many events, so I feel better now, I understand what's going on. So the question I have is the adjacent parcel, the Camposo parcel,
Yes.
right? So the Camposos are not.
So
Have a problem with this?
I'm actually here on behalf of them as well. So Brad Camposo is the owner of Premier. I'm here. I'm the project manager of the project. Brad's the owner of the company. So we're here.
So he
I'm
also.
here on behalf of both of them.
He's also the owner of this little parcel in there.
Correct.
And so, and this little parcel, if I just track it properly, it's somewhat landlocked because the parcel next to that is the Brickman Rebuild parcel.
So as of right now, I guess you could say yes, it's landlocked. I think he's already pulled a permit, but there will be a driveway that comes off of Nikulak's driveway that goes over onto the Camposo parcel, and then he's building his house over there.
Okay, for purposes of this though, the Camposo, Brad Camposo is totally okay with this. He's advocating. Okay, that was really the question again. No, I'm good then, thank you.
Just to add, I was out there this weekend and spoke with Brad. He was out there and said he fully supports this, so
Good,
I
wonderful.
just want to be clear with the neighbors. Anything else, Martin?
No, we actually looked at this piece of property a long time ago, and it's a nice piece of property. So-
It is, it really is.
Okay, all right, no, nothing else for me.
And good for you for backing out. You had the same challenge.
Yeah.
John? So the application states that one of the reasons for the variance is to mimic the house design.
Yep.
What's the square footage of the house and the height?
So I don't know the height, but the square footage of the house is about 6,500 square foot. That includes the finished basement.
And another reason for the variance states that the second floor is needed for storage. Can you share with the storage of what?
So he's got a lot of, I don't know exactly what he's putting in there, but because of the finished basement, there's really nowhere for him to store, Christmas decorations and stuff that he's not gonna be using until certain holidays, stuff like that, miscellaneous stuff. And then in the garage, he's also got the attached garage to the house is completely filled with cars because he's got him, his wife, and then he's got 2 kids. So 4-car garage will be full. And then the lower part of the proposed garage that we're proposing is essentially all of his equipment that he cannot put in his existing garage. So really, he has no, just empty storage space in the house.
So if I state it this way, to the best of your knowledge, it's other house miscellaneous.
Correct.
What was the consideration for an accessory building, both area and height, during the original site plan?
To my knowledge, I don't believe we had an accessory building when we first designed his house.
So it's possible that with this large property that needed to be maintained, large house, no consideration for putting in landscaping equipment somewhere stored in the house or somewhere on the property.
Well, we kind of played with moving the equipment around the house, as far as the exterior. But if you're familiar with the lot, you really can't use the left side. So I'm gonna say it's the side opposite the Camposa residence, because the grade drops off significantly over there, to where you couldn't put really any equipment at all. Which then leaves us, like I said, there's some stuff that we're able to put on the right side, which is behind his house garage. But as far as the left side, there's, and then obviously the front of it, he doesn't want it on the front of the house.
I bring it up because the last time this property came up for variance,
Mhm.
Mr. Hostar brought up the point that it could be expected that the owners come back and ask for a variance on accessory property. So to me, it sounds like there was awareness that there was a possibility of a future variance. So again, I think if where else it could be placed on a property that would still be within code. You answered my next question, which was why wasn't the code side setback for the accessory building not accommodated for the original site plan? You're saying that it just doesn't fit somewhere else. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Would you say that? I guess I have to ask one last question, and that is, can the structure be placed on the property within code area?
Yes.
That's my last question.
Thank you, John. Mike, I'll turn it over to you for questions. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. But nothing else, Mike, no questions or comments at this time? Okay. Just for, I guess, the public record and for the group, we do have some factors that we have to consider. So we weigh these relative to the request at hand. Whether the property will or can use, can yield a reasonable return without the variance, whether the variance is substantial. The essential character of the neighborhood, would the variance adversely affect the delivery of governmental services, whether the owners purchased the property knowing that this would be a challenge. Can the predicament be obviated through other methods or something other than a variance? And would the spirit and intent behind this requirement be observed by granting the variance? And I guess as I'm thinking about these, we've talked, John, and got at some of those. I've been back behind the property, it sounds like most of us have, seeing where it's placed, seeing with no leaves on the trees, it's pretty thick foliage. I think the impact to the neighbors is probably minimal. Certainly the next door neighbor didn't have a concern, but I do understand what you're saying about the grade being pretty substantial. I think when you're standing in front of the existing driveway, you're looking uphill to a certain extent. I didn't walk behind the house, but I imagine if it's that similar grade behind the house, you're gonna run into the same issue if you move further east, move it away from the property line to meet the variance, or meet the zoning code. So, those are the things that we will consider. With that in mind, I guess I would like to make a motion to approve a variance. We'll do these one at a time. Approve a variance for 1580 Bell Road to allow a new garage to be 4 feet from the right side yard, which would offer a 16-foot variance for the right side yard setback. Are there questions about that excuse me, can I get a second on the motion?
Second.
Are there questions or any comments or discussion on that motion?
Nope, not here.
Ruth, could we call roll?
Andy Hitchcock,
Yes.
Mike Malloy,
Yes.
John Buda,
No,
Martin O'Toole,
Yes.
So motion 1 passes. I will make a second motion for the second request relative to the height of the structure. For 1580 Bell Road, I make a motion to approve an area variance for the structure's height to allow a structure no more than 23 feet tall, which is an 8-foot variance for the accessory structure code. Can I get a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion or questions on the motion?
No.
Ruth?
Andy Hitchcock,
Yes?
Mike Malloy,
Yes.
John Buda,
yes.
Martin O'Toole.
Yes.
Congratulations, you have a garage.
Thank you.
Where do you want?
All right, thank you. So that was the only thing on our agenda for tonight. Do we have any old business? I don't think we do. Do we have any new business?
I wanted to pick your brain for 2 minutes.
Okay.
It has very little to do with the BZA as such. Village has always had what's called an appreciation luncheon for people like David Maysworth or Laura LaChapelle, who served for many years. And we would have this luncheon usually like a Friday at lunch in the pavilion. Very seldom anybody would attend. We invite the employees, of course, they could come because it's free luncheon during the workday. But we connect people like David, Laura, that are working too hard. So we're trying to think of different things we could do besides just a little jug of maple syrup. So if you have some ideas of what you've seen over the years, appreciation-wise, that somebody would actually say, hey, I'm going to remember my time on the BZA, and if you think maybe a dinner is better or maybe a breakfast is better, let me know sometime. Thank you. That's it.
All right. With that, nothing else on the agenda. We'll adjourn the meeting at 7:25.
Pretty awesome talk. I think that was working.
Thank you, Mike.
That was only one case.
All right, we'll see you.
Andy, enjoy the concert tomorrow.
Should be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen him twice now. It's been the first time.
Yeah.
Let him try.
It's also
Yeah.
very loud. So it makes sense. What are you seeing?
The Eagles?
You are?